Merab Dvalishvili just defeated Umar Nurmagomedov by unanimous decision at UFC 311, many of which thought Umar was going to be Merab's toughest challenge, and while he struggled in the first few rounds, Merab eventually wore out Umar and cracked the Dagestani code, all while breaking George St. Pierre's takedown record. He is just built different, and this puts into question who can beat him. Stylistically, he has had some very, very difficult matchups. He fought Jose Aldo, who has insane takedown defense and great power. He fought Petr Yan, again, great power, great fight IQ, and just broke him. He fought Henry Cejudo, an Olympic gold medalist and a pretty solid striker, embarrassed Cejudo, dominated O'Malley, and now clowned on Umar. So, who can beat him? I'm going to tell you why I think Petr Yan has the best chance of beating Merab out of any other fighter at 135. Do I think he would beat Merab? No, but I think he has the best chance. But let's look at a few other fighters first. Sugar Sean O'Malley. Despite losing pretty convincingly on the scorecards, he put up a deceptively competitive fight, clearly winning rounds 3 and 5. And I think that he actually has quite a lot of advantages over Morab. He has really, really good, dynamic striking. He's got long right hands. He has a great variety of feints. He switches stances really well. He's got a really good arsenal of kicks and knees, and he targets, the legs, the body, and the head really well. He has, extremely long reach for the bantamweight division, and he can hit Merab from very far away and stay at a distance from him. He has pretty good takedown defense, defending the majority of takedowns against Aljamain Sterling, and not getting taken down that many times against Morab. O'Malley's takedown defense is solid, and his jiu-jitsu is also pretty good defensively. He has exceptional power, being the first man, not officially, but being the first man to drop Marlon Chito Vera, but he does have some pretty clear disadvantages. First one is strength. It's kind of a downside of having that kind of frame at bantamweight. Sean O'Malley simply just does lack the muscle to compete with Morab. He just cannot control Morab the same way Morab can control him. It's just how it is, and he makes up for it with good striking, good get-ups, good jiu-jitsu, but it's just naturally a weakness that he's going to have. Number 2 is activity. In the Morab fight, O'Malley was really, really hesitant. And while a lot of the fight was actually fought at pretty long range, you notice the Merab, he is all the way out, out of kicking range. O'Malley doesn't throw a lot, and even when he hurts Merab to the body in the 5th round, he doesn't really follow up. And that kind of leads me to my next point. He's really injury prone, and he went into that fight with a pretty severe injury, a hip injury. Now, am I saying that that's why he lost, and that if he wasn't injured, Merab would lose? No, I think Merab had a very good game plan, albeit strange, and he executed it perfectly. Merab's gone into plenty of fights injured. Against Umar, he, injured his back. You saw the cuts on his leg. Fighters fight through injury all the time. But a hip injury against a wrestler when you're such a powerful striker, it's an issue. And O'Malley is just naturally injury prone. He's a bit brittle, a bit breakable, and that's just a weakness against Merab. If he were to fight Merab again, I do think it would be a close fight, and I do think if he doesn't come into the fight with any significant injury, I think he has a pretty solid chance of beating him. But also, I do just see Merab grappling him. I see it being slightly more competitive. Maybe O'Malley has a bit bigger of a moment where he hurts Merab a little bit more, but Merab just recovers and gets back on it. Next up is the man he just beat, Umar Nurmagomedov. It was a very close fight. I know Merab's taunting at the end, and even in the 3rd round, made it seem like it was a very, very dominant victory, and towards the end it was. But Umar did pretty clearly win the first 2 rounds, and maintains, a competitive fight through, 3, 4, and 5. And he does hold quite a few advantages, right? We have the wrestling. On paper, Umar is a better wrestler. Just on paper. Not factoring cardio or endurance or injuries or anything. On paper, Umar is a better wrestler. You saw that in the first 2 rounds. Then we have dynamism, right? Similar to O'Malley, he has a great arsenal of kicks, right? Same with the athletic striking. He can cover distance. He hits decently hard and he can just do things at a high level. And he's pretty strong and he can go on scrambles, right? When he's still got gas. But he does have some pretty strong disadvantages, right? First of all, is his cardio. People do gas out against Morab, right? That's not like I'm not saying Umar's cardio was terrible, but when you started to see that Umar couldn't get the takedown, there was a very clear change in his body language and how much he could put into strikes. Same with his boxing, right? He has really good kicks. That does not mean he's an elite striker, right? He's a great striker, don't get me wrong, compared to other UFC athletes. But his boxing is not all that. It's flailing his arms around. At times it can be good, but then he just goes back to his roots of just winging punches, and it is a pretty big weakness in his game, both offensively and defensively. Then there's his adaptability. Throughout that fight, he didn't really try to change his game plan at all. In fact, Khabib gave him the advice to commit to the wrestling in round 3, 4, and 5, and that kind of gassed him out, and he got beat in that area. You didn't really see Umar commit to going to the body or trying to press Merab back. There was not really any changes, and I think when you're used to having your way in a fight, you don't really go through adversity. Not necessarily being tough. Umar's very tough, but just adapting your game plan when you're getting beat is something that Umar struggles with, at least right now. In a rematch, I do think it'll be a close fight, but I do think Merab will be a little bit more dominant. Just because he's got a feel for Umar's kicks and his striking, but also it's a confidence thing. Umar was heavily favoured, or favoured to win that fight, and had a lot of confidence, and Khabib had a lot of faith in him, and he lost for the first time, and arguably got embarrassed by Morab in the cage. So I do think his confidence and his just energy going into the fight will be quite a bit different if he does have a rematch. Next up is Song Yadong. Advantages. He has absolutely insane KO power at 135. Aside from O'Malley, he's probably the hardest hitter in the weight class. Especially, though, with the inside hooks. You see when Merab gets rocked by Cejudo, by Moraes, that by hooks on the inside. And I think Song Yadong is perfect for that. He has very clean inside boxing. And he is very much capable of sleeping Merab. Next up is his toughness. Against Cory Sandhagen, his eyebrow was pretty much hanging off, like his eyelid just split completely open. And he just kept walking forward, blood running down his face, just smiling, plodding forward and just taking punches. And against Petr Yan, again, just eating uppercuts, walking forward. He is really, really, really tough. And he will not give up or wilt, and he'll just keep trying to power through. Next up is takedown defense. He has really good takedown defense. He's really athletic and really, really strong. And his offensive wrestling isn't bad either. He's very strong. He's got good strength, got good athleticism, and he's very, very fast. But that leads into the disadvantages. He's too reactive, right? Being so athletic and fast and strong, right? If you so much as fake a takedown at him, he will immediately drop to the mat. And I think against Morab, with him shooting, 20, 30, 40 takedowns a fight, if he just half-asses a shot and Yadong immediately sprawls as hard as he possibly can, that's going to gas out Song quite quickly. And he also struggles with variety. Against Sandhagen, Kyler Phillips, and Petr Yan, each of those fighters is very good at mixing in the striking and the grappling, and they all have very dynamic striking games. If you give Song Yadong a lot to worry about in each field, he tends to struggle because he's very good at defending just takedowns and he's very good at defending just strikes. But if you start giving him multiple different things to be worried about, it kind of falls apart a little bit. Since he's so reactive, he'll kind of start to make incorrect reads. And that also leads into scrambles. If your defense to the first shot is really hard and really aggressive, your defense to the second shot in the exchange isn't going to be as good. And naturally, I think Morab would be able to chain wrestle and wear out Song Yadong, not just because Yadong's cardio is bad, but just because I think the way Yadong reacts to exchanges would get him into some trouble. While there is a very good chance that Yadong sleeps Morab out cold, I would favour Morab to win that fight by decision. Next up is Cory Sandhagen. So, the advantages he has is striking skill. More specifically, striking IQ, right? Creating angles, using footwork, targeting different parts, the head, the body, the legs, using a good variety of strikes, thinking about what you're throwing, adapting as well, and just being dynamic with spinning kicks, flying knees, all those kinds of things, right? Next up is cardio. Sandhagen has been in a multitude of 5-round fights at very high paces, right? The fight against Petr Yan, very, very high pace. Still looked good in the 5th round. Still looked pretty fresh, pretty good. Came back after being knocked down, and still kept coming. TJ Dillashaw, lots of grappling, lots of intense striking exchanges, still looked good. Right, Song Yadong, that went to the end of the 4th, got better as the fight went on. Marlon Vera dominated in the grappling all 5 rounds. Rob Font grappling 5 rounds through injury. His cardio is pretty good. And his takedown defense has been getting significantly better. And against Umar, his takedown defense was actually pretty good. It's just that he didn't do enough in the striking exchanges in between. But his disadvantages: strength. Similar to O'Malley, having this kind of frame at bantamweight, while it has its advantages, also has its weakness, and Sandhagen just simply lacks the strength to muscle around someone that has decent takedown defense and defend takedowns against someone that's really quite strong, especially Merab. And he just lacks stopping power. While he does have dynamic striking and he can flying knee KO Frankie Edgar and he can spinning wheel kick Marlon Moraes, those were more due to technical setups and Edgar and Moraes having questionable chins. And Morab has shown, one, to have a pretty good chin, but to also be able to recover from getting rocked. And I don't think Sandhagen's going to be able to command a level of respect from Morab that he needs to stop Morab from coming in and just spamming takedowns. So if they do fight, I would favor Morab to win by decision. I think Sandhagen will have some moments, but again, Morab will just power through anything that Sandhagen throws. Now to who I think has the best chance at beating Morab at 135. And this is not likely. Don't get me wrong, it's not likely and it's a long shot and I'll probably get jumped for this. And that's fair enough. But Petr Yan. In their first fight, Petr Yan got dominated. Right? Just taken down, got shot on 50 times, got taken down 11 times, got his eye busted up, and just got absolutely manhandled by Morab. But if we look the skills that Yan has and how he's been able to apply them in other fights, and we look at the game plan that Yan went in with, and we look at the injuries that he went into the fight with, I think he has a decent chance at beating Morab, at least better than most fighters at bantamweight. So, let's look at the advantages he holds. Striking skill. We're talking striking athleticism, we're talking variety in attacks, ability to attack the body, ability to attack with kicks, punches, moving ahead, using footwork, using elbows, using knees. Especially against Davison, Figueiredo, and Sandhagen, they're really, really great displays of what Yan can do in the striking. He just has so many tools in his arsenal. He's such a great boxer. And he's really good at finding hooks on the inside. He's really good at finding uppercuts. He's really good at attacking the body. He has a really nice, long straight. He can switch stances. He has a killer body kick and killer body attacks. And if anyone remembers, O'Malley was able to hurt Morab to the body with long kicks. And also Merab, Cejudo, and Moraes were able to hurt Morab with inside hooks, and Umar even stung Morab a couple times with like step-through combinations, and Petr Yan has excellent step-through combinations, right? Sort of leads into the dynamism. Petr Yan can throw flying knees, he can throw spinning wheel kicks, he can throw back kicks, elbows, spinning back fists. He can, do it all. He can blend strikes with the takedowns and just do everything really well. He has really good ground and pound. He just does everything really, really, really well. He's got his fight IQ. He is so good at making reads, so good at adapting to his opponent and building as the fight goes on. And just, again, you look at Sandhagen, first round, second round was kind of struggling, third, fourth, and fifth, washed him, right? Against Aljamain Sterling in both the first and the second fight, struggling a little bit at the start, towards, third, fourth, and fifth was really, really taking over. It's just how Yan goes, right? He just builds and he makes reads and he's supremely technical, right? Then there's his takedown defense. You get shot on 50 times, right? With a torn shoulder, and you defend 40 of them, that is ridiculous. Yan has always had exceptional takedown defense. It's only against guys like Aljamain Sterling who can get one takedown and just hold on for the entire round. Or against Morab, who just shoots so many times. He can defend the takedowns, and he can defend them really well, and he can land his own takedowns, and he can scramble really, really, really well. Right? Then his cardio. Yan is a pressure fighter, puts a pace on people, and again, in fights like the Aljamain Sterling fight, both of them, Cory Sandhagen fight, the O'Malley fight, even the Morab fight, gone 5 rounds at an insane pace and still kept coming. It's just insanely impressive, and I think strength is something that you really do need in a fight, but especially against Morab. And strength. Yan is simply strong. He's not the biggest bantamweight, but neither is Morab. Yan is really, really, really strong. Just able to, at times, manhandle around Aljamain Sterling. Able to, pick up and slam Sean O'Malley. Able to just brute force his way through Cory Sandhagen. He's got some muscle. He's got some strength. Disadvantages, right? Can be overwhelmed. While it's only one or it's only 2 disadvantages compared to I've got 6 advantages, it's big, right? Yan, similar to Yadong, if you give him too many things to worry about, he will simply get in a defensive shell. He'll defend everything pretty good, but he'll just stay in that defensive mindset, and sometimes he won't just plant something on you to stop you from coming forward. There are times where if you just simply put the volume on, he will just kind of be a bit more passive. And against Morab, you saw that on full display. And I think part of Yan's issue in that fight is, one, he came in a bit angry and a bit confident in the worst way possible. Because against Sean O'Malley, he definitely should have won that fight. Just hands down. And I'm assuming he was pissed off. And he came into that fight, pissed off Morab, shoving him at the weigh-ins, just wanting to walk through him. And Morab was just tough and just did not stop coming forward. And I think Yan really underestimated Morab. And also, Yan is similar to Leon Edwards in a way he does things too perfect. And if not, he'll just wait. I think if Yan put less effort into defending the takedowns, he'd actually have quite a bit more success. Because Morab doesn't put 100% into every takedown, not even close. But Yan puts 100% into defending every takedown. And if you just a little more relaxed, a little bit less stressed about the takedown, sure, he will get taken down. He's got a better chance of getting up. He's got to not worry about getting choked out, because Morab's not going to choke you out, so you've got to get up your back and start, get up to your feet, give up your back, start working the hands, and just hitting him off the break, and attack the body. as well. I think Yan really, really should attack the body, attack uppercuts against wrestlers. A lot of people talk, oh, knee up the middle, knee up the middle. No, it's the uppercut. Acts as an underhook as well. It's perfect. And I feel like if Yan goes into that fight with a bit of a better mindset, bit of a better game plan, and also, you gotta look, Yan went into that fight with some pretty significant injuries. I know, every fighter does, but a torn shoulder against a good wrestler, we saw how that went with TJ Dillashaw and Aljamain Sterling, and it does not end well. And for Yan to last the 5 rounds is really, really impressive as it is. So I think if Yan makes some I don't want to say easy adjustments, but they're not super complex. They're not massive leaps. He can have a significantly more competitive fight with Morab. Will he win? I'm not favoring him to, but I don't favor many people. Well, I don't favor any people to beat Merab at this point. I've picked against Merab for his last 5 fights, and you know what? I am finally a Merab believer. But if there's anyone that has the best chance at beating him, it's somehow Petr Yan. So, anyway, guys, that was the breakdown. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm very excited to see who Merab fights next. Most likely Petr Yan, or they do a Yan versus O'Malley rematch. If they do, 5 rounds, please. But regardless, guys, hope you enjoyed the discussions. Put your thoughts down below, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your day.